Hey, I'm Tyson Larone. I'm an AKC kettlebell instructor certified under Sean Mosen, and this is my entry into the Bodyweight Culture Bodyweight Workout Video Contest. We're at Arashino Martial Arts here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where I live. I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu here, and I'm also the strength and conditioning instructor. I was really excited when I heard about this video contest because Bodyweight Culture has given me a lot of cool ideas, and they've also developed the USA, which is one of the coolest training tools I've had the privilege of using, and definitely grateful for that. So this is kind of a chance for me to give back. And the money would be nice too, not going to lie, the money would be nice. The original workout that I had planned for this was a little bit longer, a little bit more comprehensive, but it would have taken too long. I found out from the forum that the entire workout had to be encapsulated in 20 minutes. And I had to demonstrate everything. So I switched to one of my shorter circuits. It's one that I designed to be directly applicable to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So the grapplers on the site are going to love this one. I think you'll find the movements I'm demonstrating to be relatively unique, and once you start doing them, you'll really see how they apply to the kind of funky movements we end up doing on the mat. So I think you'll enjoy that. Getting right into it, I'm going to demonstrate the movements first. You're going to need a pull-up bar or some to do pull-ups on, whether it's a tree or monkey bars or whatever. But other than that, you need no equipment. Resistance is 100% body weight. And the first exercise that we're going to be doing is called a bootstrapper. I was shown this by Sean Mosen, and it's a great exercise for warming up the quadriceps and also to dynamically stretch the hamstrings and glutes, so it's a great warm-up technique. The second one is a variation of chin-ups using the USA and some pieces of gi that I think you'll find really cool. The third one is a movement that's more geared toward joint mobility, but I've added a side squat to it to make it a little bit more intense. It's called the rolling scorpion. The fourth exercise you'll be relatively familiar with. It's dive bomber push-ups, but I modified it a little bit, added a dynamic hip stretch into the movement, and just to bring the lower body in on it a little bit more. And the last exercise is going to be a stretch for the hamstrings and glutes and lower back. It's good for relieving tension in the spine because it incorporates a yoga pose called the plow, and also a leg lift to work the hip flexors and the abs a little bit, which I call half moons. So I'll demonstrate those for you, and then I'm going to throw my gi on to do the actual circuit itself, because when I do movements like this, sometimes I like to do them in my gi just so that I know the strength and coordination and versatility that I'm going to get from these movements is going to be accessible once I've got my gi on. I'm not going to feel like I'm closed in. So yeah, we'll get right into it. Hope you enjoy it. The first movement that I'm going to demonstrate is the bootstrapper. You want to make sure that you get the bottom position of the bootstrapper right, because that's what's going to decide ultimately whether you get the proper effect from the exercise or not. So start in the kneeling position, take your hands, put them flat on the floor. If your hamstrings are less flexible, you can put them on your fist to give yourself a little bit more clearance, but if you can, then use your palms. I'm going to get on my toes and lift my knees off the floor. This is the position I want. I want my knees to be barely touching my elbows when I'm in this bottom position. I don't want my hands close enough to me that they can go inside my legs or outside. I want them right about here, right so that my knees are just kissing my elbows. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand up, straighten my legs, dig my heels into the floor, and pull my big toes up. Pulling the big toes up is a yoga technique for stretching the hamstrings more. Then I'm going to ease back down, back into the bottom position. So my palms stayed flat on the floor throughout the whole range of motion. That's really important. So it can be done slowly. There's a nice hamstring stretch. Or it can be done quicker. as a good burn for the quadriceps. So that's the bootstrapper. So the second movement I'm going to show you is this chin-up variation that I've come up with for the USA that really makes good use of the unique characteristics of the USA that differentiate it from other suspension apparatus like gymnastics rings. I designed this to develop grip strength that's directly applicable to wrist control in a BJJ match, whether you're setting up an Americana, controlling his wrists against your chest to do a scissor sweep, whatever you need that wrist control for. You can't always depend on having a gi to grab here because sometimes the sleeve slides up, or he's just wearing a really tight gi like a lucky gi that's really hard to grab onto. So basically what I've come up with is this variation. If you look at a forearm, it's made up of two bones, the ulna and the radius, and then the tissue is surrounding those. But when you squeeze it really tight, you can really feel those two bones. So if you look at the USA, it's got all these different rungs on it. And when you do chin-ups on these rungs, it's pretty hard to do because it forces a lot of stabilization. The rung slides around and the suspension doesn't stay put either. But what you can do is take two of these rungs and put them together. So one of these rungs is the ulna, the other one's the radius. And when you squeeze them together, it really feels like you're holding onto a really thick, really movable forearm. And especially when you start getting sweaty, this thing's going to be really hard to hold on to because you've got to keep these in contact the whole time while you're doing the chin-ups. And so that one is great for submission wrestling because guys are usually wearing t-shirts. But I can make it even more applicable using this. This is basically a sleeve of a gi that's been cut off and sewn up at the end, and then had a loop added to put it on a chin-up bar so you can do gi chin-ups. But what I'm going to do is wear it like a mitten. And I'm going to grab these two rungs. So now, not only am I grabbing a forearm, or that's what it feels like, but now it feels like I'm grabbing a forearm that has a gi sleeve on it. So it's even more applicable to the gi Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu aspect. So it's going to be really hard to hold on to, and you're going to really feel like you're basically doing a chin-up on two forearms. So it's a great exercise if you're a grappler. Good one to have. So the next movement I'm going to show you is the rolling scorpion into side squat. This is a more technical movement than the other two that we did, so you're definitely going to want to watch this part a couple more times before you try it yourself, and make sure you're pretty warm too because it's a pretty crazy mobilization exercise. Basically I'm going to start in a wide stance, just standing position. Then I'm going to side squat to the left side. My right foot's going to turn up. I'm going to try to keep my left foot on the floor, both heel and the ball of the foot. Then what I'm going to do is lean forward, put my hands on the floor, and the leg that's squatting is going to be straightened, kicked up, and right over my back to make contact with the floor on the other side. I'm going to stretch all the way through the torso. And once that foot makes the connection and the rest of my body follows it, I'm going to end up in the side squat on the same side. So then I'm going to switch to the side squat on the other side and then repeat the movement. And you're going to kind of be sporadic with this movement. You're going to find you move all over the place. So it's best to do it in an open area. Either that or just mirror the motion to go back to where you were each time. But I like to kind of travel with it just because it feels more functional for me. So I'll demonstrate it for you. So I'm here. I start my wide stance. Now I'll do my best to stay in the frame of the camera. So the first thing I'm going to do is side squat to my left side. Here. So I'm on my left foot, heel and the ball of the foot are in contact with the floor, my right foot turned up. I'm going to put my hands on the floor, lean forward. My left foot is going to get kicked right up and over to stretch the torso. When it makes contact with the floor, I'm going to be in the side squat again, on the same side. Then what I'm going to do is switch into the side squat on the right side. And then I'm going to repeat the motion.